Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and we are here to talk about the stock market. I want to continue our series for the 21-day Q&A session. This is video number 3, I think. So this is video number 3. I want to answer the age-old question: Roth IRA or traditional IRA? Which one makes sense? Which one is better, if there is one that is better? Again, what are the differences? And just really get into a little bit of the strategy between the two. So what I'm going to do is break this down. We're going to use a whiteboard. I'm going to explain a bit of it first and try to give you like the super high level. Because it's something related with taxes, it's a whole bunch of stuff that we can get into at a later date. But I want to keep this under 10 minutes. I want to make it very simple, very quick, and give you something to act on. So first, we'll start with the traditional IRA. This is from pre-tax money, which means that you can get a tax deduction, income tax deduction, by putting money into your traditional IRA. You get, for both IRAs, they're both the same. You get the same limit to put in. So you can only put in $6,000 into either or. If you do both, 3,000, 3,000. The cap is the same. You unfortunately don't get to double. Once you turn 50, you can put an extra 1,000 in, and this income limit does change ever so often. A while back, it used to be 5,500. Now it's 6,000. So every now and then they adjust the numbers. Either way, the traditional is, again, pre-tax, which means you are not putting taxes or not paying taxes on the money you are putting in right now. However, when you do take the money out, that's when you have to pay taxes. Usually 59 and a half, you kind of get out of the penalty phase. So there's that early withdrawal. You pull out before 59 and a half, they're hitting you with taxes, they're hitting you with penalties. This is outside of the COVID stuff. There are COVID reasons you could do this, but that won't be forever. I hope it's not forever. But in a general sense, if you pull out before 59 and a half, you could get hit with taxes, get hit with penalties, which is what you don't want to do. So at 59 and a half, you can pull out. When you do pull out, you will pay taxes, because remember, you haven't paid taxes this entire time you've had it. Uncle Sam wants his money, and they're going to get it. If, let's say, at 59 and a half, you don't withdraw, you don't do anything, I think at 72, or is it 70? Yes, 70 and a half is when you get what's called an RMD, required minimum distribution, where the government requires you to pull out some money. It's a little tiny bit to pull out some money so they can tax you on it. So they're going to force you to take money out of it, again, at 70 and a half. That's a traditional IRA. Again, you're not paying taxes on it. You cannot withdraw early in most situations without some penalty. Once you turn 59 and a half, you can pull out as much as you want. You will get taxed on it. And by 70, they force you to pull money out if you haven't already. If you're pulling out regular money, that RMD is not something, that's what they call it, required minimum distribution, RMD. It's usually not a huge amount. You were probably using that money anyway. So it's no big deal for most people. So that's a traditional IRA. On the other side is a Roth IRA. Same income limits. You can invest in the same things. So I can get Apple, Amazon, or whatever in either one. There's no difference in terms of what you can invest in. However, this is after tax money. You get the gross and the net. That net is what you've been taxed on. So you've already been taxed on this. You can put it inside of a Roth IRA, invest in whatever it is you want to invest in. And when you withdraw, again, usually at 59 and a half, you have to have had the account for at least 5 years. If you meet those two criteria, you can pull out all of the money with no taxes, which sounds amazing, right? And it is, if you can do it. The reason why I say if you can do it is because there are income limits, and you can probably imagine why. But for example, I think for married couples, at least this round this year, and this does change, combined, if you are a married couple, married filing jointly, I think the limit is like 206,000 combined. So if you make more than that, no Roth IRA for you. But if you make less than that, you can get one. So you always want to check with your accountant or the IRS website to see what the limit is at the time and the tax year, because again, they do kind of change. But there's a limit to how much you can make to even get a Roth IRA. That is not the case for a traditional IRA. Traditional, before taxes; Roth, after taxes. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the end of the two. It just really comes down to taxes. One other thing I want to add for the Roth IRA is that you can withdraw the money you put in. Remember, you've already paid tax on it. So if you put in $500 today and you're not 59 and a half, you can pull out $500 today because that's what you put in. Now, and I'll illustrate this too, but if you put in 500 and it grows to 1,000, that extra 500, you can't touch that. That's a growth. You got to leave it in there until you're 59 and a half and you've had the account for long enough, which is just 5 years. So those are the differences between the two. And I'll explain one other quirk, one other benefit to Roth IRA in a few minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and illustrate this so I can kind of show you, because now you're probably asking, well, which one should I get? Which one is better? So we're going to discuss that. So what we want to do is let's start off with the Roth IRA. All right. So at this point, this is, I pay my taxes now. Taxes. And this is when I get to pull it out tax free. Now, if I have a Roth IRA, my objective right now is to pay lower taxes today, and in the future, I get to have all this stuff tax-free. This is why, and here's that quirk I was talking about, why people talk about open a Roth for your kids, open a Roth for your kids. Now, your kids have to have earned income, so a real job, or if you have a business, to legitimately employ them and have your tax professional do all the accounting work for them, but they have to have a real job. If you do that, if you get taxed as a child at, I don't know, age 5, 6, even 16, in most cases, you get a kid's tax rate. It's not going to be really high, right? So if you get to pay taxes now and you get to invest that money for 50 years and pull it out tax free, bruh, you are made, right? That is the point. Your objective is to pay low taxes now and pull it out tax free. So if you live in a place that is low taxed or has less taxes in terms of income taxes and stuff, you want to get in with a Roth IRA if you qualify. Not everyone does. So that's the objective here. Now, on the opposite side of things, for a traditional, y'all know I can't spell and stuff. We're just going to have to deal with it. IRA. I want to do the opposite, where if my taxes are really high right now, let's say I live in New York, maybe I live in California, I don't want to pay them taxes now. Why would I do that? I'm not going to live in New York forever. And I ended up moving. So what I want to do is not pay taxes in this really high income tax place now. I want to pay them when I pull it out later when I move to Texas or Florida or Arizona or wherever taxes are cheap. So what I am doing is I'm going to pay taxes here. Pay taxes here. And that's really the difference between the two. So I'm going to put no taxes. That's the difference between the two. Where and when do you want to pay taxes, and how much money do you make now? So do you qualify for doing either? Now, some of us don't know where we're going to be in 10 years. I moved 3 times in 2020. I went from New York, which is high taxes, which says, all right, traditional IRA. Then I went to Texas. Guess what? They have no state income taxes. So now a Roth IRA makes more sense. And now I'm in North Carolina, and I don't know what type of taxes I have because I haven't had time to figure it out yet. So the key here is which one. Now, if you already know and you have a good sense of that, then you can go ahead and pick one. But the strategic part of us, a good financial advisor, most people who are really thinking about their money in the future, most people try to get both if you can. The reason why people try to get both, keyword if you can, because again, you have to qualify for the income limit for a Roth, is because tax rates change. They change all the time. We just saw with President Trump, he had a whole tax thing. Then Bush had a whole tax thing. between now and the time you actually retire, who knows how many presidents we're going to have and how many times the tax laws are going to change, or how many times you are going to move, or how many times your state tax laws are going to change. So if you can, most people or most financial planners and experts say if you can get both, do both so you can really balance and be nimble in case of any changes. The other part of it is most people always lean towards a Roth. For kids, yeah, I probably would if they have legitimate income. But in a state like New York, if or especially New York City, if my taxes are really high right now, why pay those high taxes now if I can avoid those and move somewhere and not pay them in retirement? It, the case is there. So again, most if you can, you might make more of a strategic decision to go for both, and then determine where you are tax wise. Talk to your tax professional and ask them which one of these make the most sense for you. Again, you can invest in the same things. Apple, Amazon, whatever, you can get both of those. Most people lean towards a Roth. I like a Roth, but again, you got to make under that income amount, which does change. So that's the difference between the two. Wanted to break down and explain that. Let me know if you have any questions. Was it clear? Was it not clear? Make sure you hit the share button and make sure you're checking the hashtag 21-day Q&A for more questions and answers. Anything else you may need when it comes to investing. As always, make sure that you check out the 2021 Investing Yearbook, where we cover, I say we because there are 5 of us, 5 investing experts that collaborate to create that guide on what to invest in and what to look for in 2021 as an investor. What are the best defensive stocks? What are the best apps? All that stuff is covered in the yearbook. All right, that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.